Hey everybody, welcome to Always Bored, Never Boring. In one of my previous videos, a commenter asked, do I ever paint any of my stuff? Because quite often I'm unboxing things and showing things in their unpainted state. The answer is yes, I do. And I have recently got around to finally putting some paint on some alien miniatures. Now these are unicast miniatures from Protos Games for the Alien vs Predator miniatures game. I have been collecting the unicast miniatures, and on some of my previous videos some people may have seen me unboxing them, and they're really rather lovely, and I've been wanting to get some paint on them for ages. But I've never painted aliens before, and I wasn't really sure how to go about doing it. And I'll be honest, I kind of did a thing where I was painting them and recording my efforts at the same time, and that footage was a complete disaster. The lighting was wrong. I was quite often painting slightly off camera. I've never tried to do a painting guide on camera before, and the whole thing was a bloody mess. So this is my my alternative method. I thought I would just show off the finished products and very quickly talk through the steps that I did to get to this result. I'm a lazy painter. I've mentioned this before. I do enjoy painting, but I enjoy more having finished painted products, and I don't have a lot of time for painting. I paint whenever I can, but as a married man with 2 children and a job and a mortgage and all those annoying real life things that get in the way, it can be difficult for me to find the time to get painting done. So I'm always looking for ways of getting good results, not exceptional results, but good results quickly, painlessly. And so that's what I was setting out to do with these aliens. And you can see that they're relatively simple paint jobs. I'm very happy actually with the results. Got his little smile there. So yeah, so these are alien warriors, and if I'm making a bit of a confession, I have to say, Protos Games are knocking it out of the park with these unicast miniatures, and they are some of my favourite miniatures. Obviously I'm a big Games Workshop fan, but recently I've been buying a lot of these unicast miniatures, and I'm really quite in love with them. I think they're really nicely done, and yes, these are some of my favourites in my collection now. Don't tell Games Workshop, I still love them the most. Anyway, I am jabbering because it's quite late at night, and I haven't had a lot of sleep recently. But anyway, okay, so let's show you this guy. This is probably my favourite piece from the set that I did. This is a set of 5 alien warriors that I painted, and this one I think turned out particularly nice. He's got his little mouth out. Gonna eat you with my little mouth. I've dropped him. Oh no. Yeah, I have serious dropsy issues. I'm always dropping stuff. Makes painting difficult. Makes filming, where you're only filming stuff that you're holding, even more difficult. Yeah, so how did I achieve it? Very quickly and easily, actually. This, to start with, it was a Chaos Black spray primer. Games Workshop Chaos Black spray paint. Just to give everything a hit of, a level black base coat. And then it was down to dry brushing, really. First of all, you go over there for a minute, mate. First of all, dry brush of uniform grey. That was over the whole alien body. I wasn't worrying about the base, the really rather nice base at this point. This was just dry brush the alien with uniform grey. When that was done, it was a case of dry brushing with ash grey, and what I did there was I kind of tried to do it as a highlight. I did it on the top edges, I did it on the arms and the head and the vent pipes and the shoulders and the knee up here. I didn't dry brush up under the chest with it because I wanted to get it so that those areas were darker, naturally darker. I don't do things like source lighting things like that, because I am not a good painter, and you know, to do source lighting and things like that, you have to be bloody awesome. There are loads of people on the internet who will show you how to be bloody awesome. I am not one of them. When that was dry, I hit the whole model with blue tone ink, and obviously all those highlighted greys that have come with the dry brushing, because obviously dry brushing, for those people who don't know, is where you put a little bit of the paint on the brush, you wipe off almost all of it, and then you just flick the brush over the top of the model, and the paint just hits the very highest edges of the model and brings out the detail. And there's such lovely detail on these models, it really does pick up some good stuff. And yeah, so then when you do the blue tone, it just washes the whole model, and gives everything sort of that blue alien tone over the whole thing. And you get slightly different shades of it, because you've got the blue ink going over areas where there's just uniform grey, and you get some going over the ash grey, so you get slightly different shades of the blue. And I thought that looked pretty cool, so I was happy with that. And that pretty much was the aliens painted. Like I said, it's super quick, super lazy. When the ink had dried, the only other thing that I did on the aliens was I used some shining silver to pick out the teeth. Don't know if that's going to come out on camera. And that is just the very, very slightest touch of shining silver, just to bring those teeth out, so that it really doesn't have to be very much at all, but it does. It just gives that little spot of detail on the face, and that she's, you know, it sort of draws the eye to the face area a little bit. So there we go. So yeah, a little bit of shining silver there, and then it was a matter of doing the actual base of the miniature. So I hit the whole thing with gunmetal, just over the whole thing. It's just a flat base coat of gunmetal, and then good old dark tone. Wash the whole thing with dark tone, just to pick out those details. We run it into the recesses, bring out all those cool details, and then back to dry brushing for some shining silver, and that was just brushed over those highest edges, just to bring out a bit more texture. And then finally I used my incredibly old pot of chestnut ink, and what I did with that was I just put some rusting effects on the metal. That is literally neat chestnut ink applied around the bolts, and then sort of just flicked down with a very, very thin brush, just to get a little bit of rusting on. I don't know if that's going to come out, but it's on all the bolts and things, and it's round here as well on certain bits. I don't know if it's going to come out on this one as well, but I did it on anywhere that had bolts and things, just to bring out a bit more texture and definition. And I thought that worked quite nicely. Yeah, and then sorry, this guy again. Wrong guy. The only other thing was one of the models had this sort of water-based thing here, and I wasn't quite sure what he was supposed to be coming out of, whether he was supposed to be coming out of water or some kind of breeding pool or something. So I just went with like a green, and I did that with that's a coat of wire flesh, and then some watered down goblin green on raised areas, and then some very, very watered down Gretchen green, just to kind of bring out a bit more, and then everything's been hit with green tone, and that basically finished the model. The last thing that I did was at this point I hit everything with a coat of anti-shine, and you've got very dry looking aliens, but also aliens are known for being a bit gloopy and shiny. Now I've seen people apply gloss varnish to them and things like that. I didn't want to do that. I was a bit worried that gloss varnish was going to really make them look plasticky, and plus the fact I didn't want the whole model to be shiny. I wanted the carapace, the head, to be shiny. So, and I wanted the teeth and the drooly mouths to be a bit shiny. So, I got some Nuln Oil gloss. Nuln Oil is a shade from Games Workshop, and all I did was I applied it, a neat coat of it, over the top of the head and let it run into all the recesses, and then I slapped a little bit of it in the mouth and over the teeth, and I also put some on this water here to make it shiny there. And I did that on all of them, and the result is, I don't know if that's going to come out on my lighting here, but you can see the model isn't shiny except the head, and as you turn it you get that nice sheen on the head, but it doesn't look plasticky. It's probably not quite as gloopy looking as the aliens in the movies, but I'm happy with the result there, because like I said, I didn't want it to look like an old gloss coated toy soldier. But I did want it to have some kind of shimmer to it, and I think that was a good way of doing it. It's worked quite nicely. I'm now going to use this same process on all of my other aliens, because I've got a whole bunch of stalkers and alien infants that I need to get through. And like I say, that was an important thing for me, was finding a way to do it quickly, because the thought of painting like 20 odd aliens all in one go, it doesn't fill me with huge amounts of excitement. So finding a way to do it relatively quickly was high on my list of things to do. I do tend to get a bit fed up if I'm painting the same stuff for any length of time, but I do like to have stuff finished. So I think with this method that I've used here, I can probably do the whole bunch in a day. If I was to sit down and just do it over a course of a day, picking it up in between real life, it'll take me a couple of days, and I should have a whole bunch of them done, which is cool. And like I say, it's not the most exciting paint job in the world, but I'm actually pretty happy with it. And I used exactly the same method, or almost exactly the same method, on the Predalien. Let's see. The only difference on this guy is I used some purple ink on certain bits, on the dreads at the back here, and on various different vents and things on his arms, just to give a slightly different tone on certain areas of his body. And then I just glossed his little bald cap at the top. So yeah, not the most exciting paint jobs in the world, but I would say effective, and I am very happy with the results, because, you know, it didn't take long, and they look decent, and I know that I can get through a whole bunch of them relatively quickly, and you know, and get them all done, get them all painted, and then I've got to look at painting some predators, and that does fill me with dread, because yeah, I've never painted a predator before, and I have absolutely no idea how I'm going to do that. I fudged my way through the aliens. I sort of just made it up as I went along, and I'm lucky that it sort of turned out okay. But I'm really not sure how I'm going to paint predators. So if anybody's got any tips for painting predators, any colour schemes or anything, let me know in the comments, because yeah, that would be appreciated, because otherwise I'm just gonna fudge my way through it, and they may look awful at the end of it. But that's it from me for now. Hopefully this has been interesting to somebody, and if it hasn't, then as always, I do apologise for wasting your time. Hopefully I will see you all again another time. Thanks everybody, bye bye.